Chef?
Assalamu alaikum, huh? What is good with
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Good to see your face, man. Good to see you, mashallah.
MashaAllah, yeah. Brother on the ground, COVID done put us in a situation of complete lockdown. But alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has preserved us and made it to where, you know what I'm saying, we could connect and touch bases.
Mashallah.
Yeah,
Mashallah. Mashallah. Alhamdulillah.
So mashallah, I'm happy to see you, brother. You know what I mean, and you know, good to see you. You know, you over there thriving, and you on the ground. You know what I mean, and things are well. You know, a lot of people situations kind of complicated in certain areas. You know what I mean. So you know, and so without further ado, as everyone knows, assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Askari, also known as Abu Naima from the Bowtie Chronicle. We have a special guest, a beloved brother of ours by the name of Brother Ahmed Muhammad Al-Sufi, or, you know, he has many different titles, you know what I mean? So, you know, one of our beloved brothers who actually spent a lot of time in Senegal and studied in Senegal as a child and as a teenager, mashallah, and also has married from the continent. So, you know, we have several different topics we want to actually discuss with the brother. So I like you. You can go ahead and introduce yourself and give them a background. So first, Brother Ahmed, and then you know, cause you know, let you can let them know what you're doing at the moment, and you know, and that as far as where you're from and so forth, and then we'll get started.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah, jazakallah khair. Big brother Askari, alhamdulillah, man. I enjoy your time. I enjoy every time I get a chance to spend with you. You know, I always learn from you, bro. Mashallah, you taught me a lot. This short time we've known each other. Just a little small background about myself. Alhamdulillah, I'm actually living not too far from you. I'm here in Doha. I actually, for the last, oh my goodness, 20 years, I've been doing IT security work. I'm over here now managing a project for a US-based company doing IT security, you know, contracting with the, you know, with the country government, whatever. Alhamdulillah, you know, like you said, man, mashallah, wallahi, alhamdulillah, I'm grateful and I'm thankful to Allah that I can see the blessing, and alhamdulillah, Allah has put mercy on me to put me in this situation, because I look at last year, I was in a tough situation job-wise when I was in Dubai, and I was really begging Allah that Allah give me something better. And alhamdulillah, he answered my prayers. And not only did he answer my prayers, he allowed me to reconnect with my family. So I had sent my family back to the US because I was planning on moving back there because things wasn't working for me in Dubai. I spent 9 years in Dubai. Alhamdulillah, I enjoyed Dubai. I learned a lot over there. And a lot of stereotypes. You know how it is. You've been there many times yourself, so you know how it is. There's a good and a bad thing. It's not as how people make it like it's such a bad. It's not like that. You have good and you have bad everywhere you go.
Everywhere, yeah, definitely.
So yeah. So alhamdulillah, I was there. I learned a lot. I was able to get this job and move to here to Doha like a week before the whole COVID-19 thing happened. So I literally got here, and a week later, everything shut down. So I got my family over here. I literally took my kids out of school, something that I struggled with. But now that I look back, alhamdulillah, I'm glad I made the decision because of this COVID thing. So, you know, so the last 9 years in Dubai working, mashallah, before that, I was in Northern Virginia. Alhamdulillah, I'm a father of 4 children, two girls, 2 boys. I lived many places, so, you know, I lived in Northern Virginia area. I'm originally from New York. My family is from New York. My father is actually of West Indian descent. He's from Aruba or Anguilla, whatever one you want to choose. And my mother is African American. I lived in Senegal for about 6 years. My father sent me there when I was 11 years old to study Quran with Sheikh Hassan Sisi in Medina Bay. So, mashallah, I was one of the first kids to go there and study Quran, learn Wallah, live in Africa, mashallah. At a young age, this was back in the 80s, man. Now we getting old, man. We getting old, shit. But alhamdulillah, the number doesn't matter.
SubhanAllah.
We got a long way to go.
SubhanAllah.
That's just a quick bio of myself, mashallah. A lot of things
So,
explain, but
okay, so without further ado, it is clear and understandable. This bean pie over here, it's man. Wow, man. Man, I don't know what to say.
Mashallah. I wish I had one.
Whoa, man. I messed up. Actually, this bean pie that I made this time, man, I didn't make it with navy beans. And I've been
bean pies,
experimenting. Huh? Yeah, I've been experimenting. And so this particular one, or actually for a couple we've been making, I've been making them with butter beans. And
which one is better?
Man, Butterbean is is fighting hard. I keep Butterbean got navy beans on the fence, man. So it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, it doesn't make a difference what the situation is. Whichever situation you find yourself in, you can use both, and it comes out. It pretty much comes out. SubhanAllah. Man,
for the recipe, man, I'm gonna give it to my wife, see if she can hook it up.
definitely. You know what I mean? Oh, that's a given. You know what I mean? So yeah,
I got the skills like you, but I'll hand it over to her, see what she can do.
Hey, Aki, I'm gonna say this right here. No offense, and also for me the same thing. The sisters, they may try. But if you don't have a history of a brother standing on the corner selling the bean pie, you just can't. I mean, just the whole ideal of, okay, I'm gonna make some sweets out of beans. They don't get the process. So, I think that you have to have in the process of making it, you got to have a level of already yaqeen. So that you put your best foot forward. You know what I mean?
You putting your energy, your vibe is going into bean pie.
And so look. So your spirit, look.
Your spirit. I raw.
Look. You know what they say, right? You can make a meal, and you can be mad, and when the person eat the meal, he feel the anger. You know what I mean? And so And so with the bean pie is that what you got to do first is you got to allow the person to eat the bean pie first. Once they've eaten the bean pie, and then they get intrigued by it, then they say, dang, I got to make that. And so now, in other words, they digested the spirit of the bean pie. And so once you digested it, and then you understand, then it's like, it's like telling the person, yeah, you know what I mean? We're going to make some Southern fried chicken. So, okay, so Kentucky, he automatically, it registers. So when he goes to make the chicken, he's like, okay, he's attentive. Oh, okay. So what I do next? Because they believe. So,
the evening is there. They have an evening. They have permission. The permission is eating it first.
Oh, man. Because that whole process right there, that does something to the person as far as you know what I mean, with with understanding. And so with that being said, without further ado, with that being said, that is the topic of the moment is brother, spending so much time on the continent, going back and forth, almost every year. Being married to a sister from the continent and having that kind of experience and being around so many brothers within the 54 countries inside the continent. There was a topic that was raised with a brother who's who just I think he's married now in Uganda, okay? And so the brother just got married in Uganda, and he just, he was questioned and asked about what is the difference that he's noticed, and so he gave his own opinion. You know what I mean? And so I'm coming right at you to see, because I think it's safe to say that you understand and know the differences because you have that experience now. So, and take your time. You don't have to rush. You don't have to pull no punches. You can come as hard as you want. You know what I mean? But it's important for our listeners to get a clear picture, and also for people who, because I don't know what you're gonna say, to see your perspective and how, how it comes from you, how you see it and how you feel in relation to the situation. You know what I mean? So without further ado, the question is, what is your opinion concerning, relationship with, what is the difference? Yeah. I'm outlining the difference first. What are the differences between in a relationship with a sister from the continent and African-American sister from the States? Not that there is any, just the differences at the moment. What are the differences?
Wallahi, Chef, this is a big, it's very important. It's a huge problem, and it's a big topic that it needs to be discussed more and more and more. So, first of all, my wife she's Moroccan. So, a lot of us African Americans, we've married Moroccan sisters. I know of many, many great stories, and I know of nightmares. So there is no clear cut, if you do A, B, C, and D, it's going to work for you. That's definitely out the window. There's no, I think a lot of brothers, and I know mostly brothers. I probably know only one or two African American sisters that married Moroccan brothers. So I'll stick with what I know most. African American brothers that married sisters from different cultures, like you said, different than their own, different backgrounds, different, what they, narratives, what they relate to, different backgrounds. I've changed over the years. My opinion have changed over the years. And like me talking to you now, to be honest with you, totally honest with you, I would, to be honest, I would talk against it, just to be totally honest with you right now. And the reason why is because I think a lot of people, when they go in, even myself, we don't have a full understanding of what we're getting into.
Okay.
We have no idea. First of all, as you know even better than me, marriage in itself is tough. Marriage is no joke. You throw on there a person that has a different background, mindset, expectation, agenda than yours. You can court this person, even using my experience. My wife and I talked for about a year before we got married. We talked about so many things. All of that's thrown out the window once you get married. You know what I'm saying? Because they got their agenda, they got their idea of what marriage. I got my agenda. So
okay. So is it so have another question in relation to that. So is it safe to say does that happen also with African American sisters?
Yeah, I'm getting into it. Yeah.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. So that's good. Yeah, of course.
So that's my question.
100%.
Is that the differences?
So on the differences, like the question you asked. So on the differences, usually sisters from the continent, they have an idea of what marriage should be once they get married, because culturally, and I'll use Morocco as an example. And to be honest with you, Morocco is probably similar to a lot of the other African countries too.
Okay.
A sister get married, she take care of her husband, she have babies, you know, and then for her, she want to take care of her family. You know what I'm saying? She might want to work, she might not want to work. She's going to take. Okay, I'll put it like you. Put it like this. One thing I'll tell you a big difference, because I have been married to an African American sister. The sisters from the continent, the good thing, they know how. I got a very good example, but I'll just say this first. And I'm not talking bad about African American sisters. I don't want to down them because, you know, of course I love them and I got respect for them. But I think that African sisters are conditioned on how to be a wife, how to actually be a wife. You know, okay. Like they're not going to be looking down, so to speak, on their husband in a way where it's kind of a disrespect, and sometimes that disrespect is transmits to the children. Children start being disrespectful because of the mannerism of their mother with their father, you know. So I can see the difference, you know. And so, like, you know, my wife and I, we have art, but the way she treats the husband, the children understands. He's the authority. He's authority. He's the one running the show. I'm not running the show. I'm behind him, and I complain to him. I don't push him to the side and try to do my own thing. I complain to him, and I work my way through him, whether it's through manipulation or through love or through whatever. But he's the one that's running the show, and the children are also understand that too.
Okay.
Baba is the one, he doing the thing.
Okay, so what I'm getting from this is I'm getting that you're saying that that they know their role.
Yes, they play their role because that's what they've been taught. When it's time to get married, for example, if they don't wear hijab, now they got to put on a hijab. Why? Because their husband wants them to put on a hijab. So they have their expectations of what a wife should be is more centered towards, I'm not saying it's totally Islamic because they got a lot of cultural things that's not Islamic, but it's more centered to what a marriage or a family should be, you know, because that's how they've been taught. Whereas I think, you know, even for my previous, when I was married before, our relationship was more of kind of, I don't want to say a really disrespectful, but they felt that whatever you do, I can do too. And if you can't do for me, I go do it for myself. Forget you. You know, that type of mentality, you know, they don't really think like that.
Okay.
You know?
So it goes back. Okay. So it goes back to the point, that question I just asked. So it's safe to say that she sees herself able to play your role.
Yeah,
okay.
Unfortunately, yeah. No, and that's not all. Everything I'm saying is not, of course, that's not across the board. But that's what, in my experience, that's what I ran into. And of course, I was growing too. I had to learn, and I'm still growing. And we all, you know, we're growing.
Yeah, we all growing. Yeah.
You know, we all growing. So it's not a thing of, you know, it's just that when you look at it, when I look at my two situations when I was married before to my African American wife, mashallah, and now married to a sister from Morocco, there's certain things that there's still challenges, and I'll get into that too, but there's other challenges that I don't face. And one thing, alhamdulillah, even like for me, like my kids, the level of their, what's the word I'm looking for? A tarbiyah. What's tarbiyah? They're educated, the way their upbringing, they understand.
Yes. Grooming.
Yeah,
grooming is children.
Yes. Okay. Yes, they understand. Baba, he's the one. You know why? Because that's what they see from their mother. Baba, he the one. You know what I'm saying? Whereas before, you know, it was like, Baba, forget him.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
so
that. Okay. So the whole reality of, you know, it depends on the background of the sister. The sister can come from a background where she may be in the house calling Baba a F-boy or a B or all the other derogatory terms that are used by people, and so that the children see that and they lose the level of respect for the man. Okay, all right, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So, and that's just one thing, I'm sure that's not like that across the board. And to be honest with you, it might be our fault as African American men. Maybe we didn't raise our daughters. It could still come back to us. Who knows? But that's just one of the experiences that I learned from now marrying a woman from, a different culture. That's the good thing. There's a lot of challenges too, and I don't necessarily have to use the word bad, but there's been challenges because, and that goes back to when I first started off. They have their agenda and their expectations of what you should be doing, and us coming like I'll give you a very good example. Like, in the Moroccan woman, for them, owning a house is a big deal. That's a big deal. If you don't own a house, for them, they made it. Once you own a house, you've arrived. That's in them. For us, even me, and I think maybe a lot of African Americans, we get it. Of course, owning a house is a big deal in the American community too, but not as much as for them. That's like priority number one.
Yeah,
gotta own a house. If you don't own a house, you basically you're nothing. So they put a lot of emphasis on this.
So put emphasis. Okay, but that's a point that we needed. So put emphasis on having Versace bags and Louis Vuitton. These things are not categorically important. The most important thing is the thing that would stabilize you in any situation, which is a house.
Stability.
Because that's one of the things that are stability. So one of the things that I was talking about the other day with brother Professor Adam, you know what I mean? He was on, he was on yesterday. Yeah, he was on yesterday. So
I got to send him salam. MashaAllah.
So he was on yesterday, and we were talking about stability as far as finances. And so the real talk was about finances and getting together with certain brothers, co-opting and putting finances together. And so that's the other topic that we'll get into later on this month or later on this week. It depends on, how time allows, you know what I mean? But that's another topic that we definitely need to chop around. So, okay. So for what I'm understanding from your experience, women understand their role and the understanding as far as the man, what's expected of him is to have a house. Okay. And once you've accomplished the house, you've arrived. Okay.
Yes, that's in their mentality. That's how they see it. Me personally, I don't agree with that at all.
Okay.
I don't think the two matters, and so of course owning the house is important, but for me, that's not the end all. So I think that in itself, there's a lot around that makes sometimes marrying someone from a different culture becomes a struggle because women from Africa, they are used to being in insecure environments. So once they marry you, especially you being an American, for them, you got to provide a sense of security for them. That, for them, this is the big issue. You first of all, you took them out of their environment, you put them somewhere else. So now, okay, forget the fact that maybe you don't know their culture. That's another big issue. Maybe y'all don't speak the same language, or y'all don't even think the same. But now you put them in a different environment. They want to feel secure. And sometimes a lot of brothers, they don't understand that, and they think, I married this sister and threw her up in an apartment, one bedroom apartment in a ghetto. And for her, that just doesn't, that ain't doing it for her. because she didn't. This is totally foreign to her. She's used to being around her family. If she gets sick, she got 30 people waiting outside. She coughed. They taking care of her. So now, yeah, I see you. Okay, you're back. I lost you.
Happened? It dropped.
You on mute? Okay, yeah. Now I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a big problem that's a big challenge for brothers when they marry sisters from different cultures. They got to know what they're getting. You literally you need to understand what it is you putting this woman in. She's not an American. She doesn't understand. For you, what might be cool with you might not be cool with her. And now you have to. It's on you. It's your responsibility to make sure she feels safe. You can't go. I think a lot of a lot of Muslims. Oh, this ain't Sunnah. This not Quran. This not this. It is Islam. It is. Like get that out of your head. You're trying to align what you're doing with Quran and quote unquote. You need to make sure she's safe mentally in every way possible. And I think that sometimes that becomes a problem when you marry because they coming from a place where they're around from family and stuff, and now
is it okay?
So
let me ask you this right here in relation to African Americans. Is it safe to say that we think that that's normal because the situations that we've always been in are unstable situations?
No, I don't think it's necessarily a stable situation. I think it's more of our understanding of family and community.
What I'm saying is that when you compare it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the word unstable is what I don't know if I would use the word unstable as much as broken. See, like for us, our idea of family and the idea of family is totally different.
Okay.
So our idea of family could be our children. Whereas their idea of family is grandmother, mother, uncle, everybody.
Yeah.
So for us,
so their ideal is like down south.
Yes. And unfortunately now, yeah. So we don't have that. It's of course some people it still exists in some families, but in general terms, we can go years and don't even see our brothers or our uncle or any family members, because we study, how it is in the States. Everybody's just, it's a factory. Everybody's working, man. So you bringing them over to the States and you working 7 days a week, 6 days a week. She's sitting at home.
And she don't see you.
She don't see you. She don't see her family. She don't see her mother or father. And she's sitting around like, what is this? So that's traumatic. That can be traumatic. So, and that's not all of them. That's sometimes you got a lot like now these days you have even in Morocco, the family structures getting ugly over there too. You got a lot of sisters that's grown up and they understand, this might be the situation. So it's not everything I'm saying. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule, but in general, I've seen many times where, unfortunately, nightmare stories where sisters they just, they get put into situations where they're like, man, what is that? Like, why did you, what type of situation did you put me in?
Okay, so is it safe to say? Because this is from my experience, okay? As far as me understanding what I understand now, and also the advice that I was given some time back. And I've married on the continent, but I've never taken any sister back to the States. And so my recommendation for any brother who's getting married, do not take the sister back to the States. You know what I mean? That's just my, you know what I mean? Because you'll go through a level of trauma that if she does have problems and she's around her family, those problems will go over easier because she got people that are from her family that she can relate to, that she can go ahead and talk to, and then things will subside quicker, okay? But if you take her, like you said, a fish out of water, now you put her in an environment, she don't really know nobody, she can't really speak the language at that level, and she can't really get to you as much as she would like to because you already know, like you said, the factory, once you get up in there, you got to work in order just to, you know what I'm saying, to pay the bills, to be the boss, you know what I mean? So it does keep you completely, you know, animated. You're working all the time. And so you don't really get to sit down and on a regular basis and comfort a lot of those concerns, you know what I mean? So, so is it safe to say from your experience now, would you say, don't take a sister to the States?
No.
What would be your position? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a case by case basis. I think
Okay.
if you marry someone and you're able to give them a safe environment where they are, then definitely leave them over there. And you even okay, I'll put it like this. Let's say right now your intention is to be whether in that country. There's no need to take them back to the States. But if you're not ready to move back or you're not able to come back and forth, like in large chunks of time. Like for example, if you're not able to be with her like 3-4 months out of the year or even a half a year, then unfortunately, I don't think you should necessarily leave her because this is the thing. I think the question even before that, when you say don't take her to the States or leave her, is you got to, like once you marry her, she's your responsibility. Now, how are you going to take care of her? How are you going to make her safe? If you can do it in a way where she's comfortable where she is, alhamdulillah, that's even better. But the other thing too, I think is real important, and I think even in my situation, it goes back to the expectations and how the sisters brought up over in the continent. Sometimes their mentality handicaps them too, because I've seen sisters go over to the States, hit the ground running, mashallah, and they're able to do what was needed in order to assist their husband in building them up and getting wherever they needed to go. They didn't sit and they wasn't traumatized by being in this new environment. They embraced their new environment. They hit the ground. They did what they needed to do to help their man build up, and whatever they were on the same page. So that's sometimes an issue too. The sister comes over, she's so she can't function. She's not able to function outside of her comfort zone. So she gets over there and she's traumatized. Some sisters get over there and they like, yo, what we got? What we doing? Let's do it. You need me to get a part-time job? We'll put the baby making thing to the side. Let's get this money. Let's build up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, from there. So, because if you look at the States and, we've all lived in Africa. Africa is when I say Africa, the entire continent, you got different places, of course, but it's easier to build sometimes in the U.S. And then from there you can leave if you need to, but you can kind of move forward a little bit quicker in the States. If the sister's on the same page with you, if she's willing to, buy into your story and say, okay, what are you doing? Okay, mashallah, let's go. Let's do it together and let's build together. So I've seen that happen too, alhamdulillah. So, it depends on, it depends on the situation. So I've seen, you have so many different, it all depends, man. But one thing for sure, like how we started off, sometimes the sisters from overseas, they have their idea of what they know their role. That's the good thing. And sometimes you can build on that wherever, whatever other issues might come into place. You know that you got a sister that's going to treat you like a man, wife, and you can take care of her. So it depends, man. Like for me, if I was able to do it over again, there's a lot of different things I do. Okay. But you live and learn, man. You live and learn.
Okay.
Inshallah, the next time I'll do it right.
Okay. Yeah.
Inshallah. So yeah, it depends, man. It depends.
Okay. It depends. Okay. In relation to as far as concern as far as taking care of kids and so forth like that right there, you see any difference with sisters on the continent and with sisters in the States, and if so, how, and what's the difference and that type of thing?
That's a hard one for me to say because I was married before and we had one child, And unfortunately, I wasn't, I can't really speak on her.
And once again, we appreciate you being on the show. And to all of our listeners and followers, hit that like button, share, you know what I mean? And make sure that you go ahead and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And we thank you. Assalamu alaikum.